Welcome back, everyone. All right, so I had a request on the last video, which was a very good request.
That's a hell of an idea.
That's a hell of an idea.
About strictly the THC and the floating head, how it all operates, how to hook it up, how to set it up. So that's what we're going to do today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do all this with just explaining the mounting part of it, because I don't want to take all this apart because I have it so dialed in. But what we'll do is I'm going to start here and show you some things, and then let me show you over here. Okay, over here we have, so this one here is the first one I made, okay? This is the gantry for the Z-axis. There was a couple things I didn't like about it. One being these rails here were too close to the bolt holes here. So I changed a few things and I fixed it on my other one. But anyways, this is very workable if somebody could use this. The only thing we'd have to do, because I went ahead and kind of straightened these out a little bit, and you can use different screws for the sides here. But anyways, on the top plate here, if you guys remember on the second video, I think it was, in the plans that you buy from that Homemade Madness, a lot of the files was corrupt or messed up or whatever was going on there. But anyways, if you see how this motor, it's over. It's not, something's wrong there. It's supposed to be right in the center of the bolt holes, which was fixed also. In fact, in the Pratt's files there on his site, everything is fixed and ready to roll. So anyways, that would just require change the plate, and this is very usable. Because right now it's just a piece of steel, wasted weight, you know what I mean? Unless somebody was wanting to use it. It's already drilled and ready for everything. These are made the way they're supposed to be, you know, for the inset of the bolts. Just so, I don't know. If somebody's interested in that, let me know. Other than that, so what we'll do is we'll start over there. I'll show you how it all mounts up. And then we'll come back here and I'll kind of explain what's going on with, we're missing one plate here. And of course we're missing the linear rails and the ball screw. But like I said, I'll explain that over there. Then we'll come here and I'll show you the rest of it. And hopefully that's good enough for people to understand how to mount all this stuff up. And then we'll go into the THC. I'll post a little wiring chart that comes with the THC when you buy it from the guy. And also I'll post where I got that from. Now I know this one works good. I've been through it. It's simple to set up. And he's very good with getting back to you if you have any questions. No affiliation, no sponsor, nothing with him. But it's a good unit. And I know about it, so that's why I'm going to show you how to use that one. Now, like I said, you'll get the wiring with this if you go with this one. Now this should apply to pretty much any of these things out here, any of the THCs and stuff like that. You'll just have to go off of their wiring, which should be kind of close to the same, and their setup chart. Because this also comes with a setup chart with all the things in the menu of that THC. But we'll go through that. I'll go through the explanation of how to set up the cut height, the pierce height, the touch off on the floating head, and basically we'll set it all up. I'll do it all on camera to try to help you guys understand how this all works, where you do it, and how you do it. All right, let's go back over here. All right, you guys, first thing you'll want to do is after you make your gantry, you'll mount it to the linear rail blocks, and those are your outside bolts. Then you'll want to mount your linear rails inside here for your Z. So the way you'll do that is after you mount those, and here's that other plate I'm telling you about that's missing over there. That's what the floating head stuff, the torch mounts to. Let me go over here and show you here. Okay, so after you mount your linear rails, so these are plates that are the same size as these linear rail bearing blocks. You're going to have to make something to space this plate out away from those, because if you see here how this mounts, it actually brings it out more this way, so you're going to have a gap back here. So what you'll do is, after you mount those, and this is mounted, because this block here mounts to the back of this, the gantry here, and if you see, it's out a little bit, okay? So after you mount that, you'll mount this plate to that block right there, and then it's kind of just going to pivot back and forth because that's what that does, is pivots for the ball screw. So after you get it bolted on there, you're going to try to get it even where you can make yourself a measurement on this side and on this side with some kind of a mic or anything you can get a correct measurement off of both sides. So and what you can do is, say you measure this, I'm just going to give a number. Say you measure this side and it's 0.95, okay? And then you measure this side and it's 0.85. So you'll try to twist it and close this side just a little bit, retake your measurement till you come close to what you need, all right? So then after you get a decent enough measurement on both, make your plate. And what you can do is, you don't need, I shave mine down on a mill. With the guys that don't have a mill and all that, just cut a plate out, put your holes in it for your mounting for the block, and make it a little bit, get you something a little thicker than what you need, and then just take it across the belt sander or a grinding disc. A belt sander would be nice because it'll keep it more even, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be super precise, as long as you get them both on there and that thing is even there, you know, because this way, guys, this way for the mounting of this is not going to hurt anything. That just means if you had it off a tenth or whatever, your torch is going to be turned like that, which is not going to hurt a thing. What you want to get your adjustments right is back and forth and left to right this way. The churning of it's not going to be that big of a deal, especially like a tenth or something. So don't worry about them too much. So after you make them, set them in there, and if it's too much, take them and file them down, fit them until you get them perfect. You know what I mean? Then all that will mount up nice for you. You'll have it all correctly now. Now, after you do that, we'll come mounting all this stuff up. All right. So in my file for this stuff, as you can see, we've changed it a bunch throughout the whole build process because there were some issues where this was down too far before. I didn't have enough lead screw thread. It was all the way, we had to change it and bring this up actually. So I moved my the mounting of the limit switch up. Everything got moved and changed and fixed. And it all works great now. So let's go back over here real quick. Okay, so now after you get that far and you're going to go mount this to that plate that's missing right here, the one we just spaced out from with the blocks and stuff, this will mount to that plate. Now when you're doing this, you'll figure it out, you know what I mean? It's not too difficult. So this here is shaped out for like a pan head that's going to go. You're gonna bolt that to so that goes through that plate we're missing here, and the plates behind it that we made, and into the blocks of the bearing blocks. Okay, so you'll take them two in there. You'll put two more screws or three. You can put them all in there, but the only ones you're gonna, and that's just to keep it all lined up while you're tightening these two. So put all four of your screws in on both sides. Tighten the ones with the pan heads that go behind this, and once you get those tightened up really good and you know your stuff behind it is nice and good, you can pull these other ones out, because then here's what's going to hold it tight that you just tightened, where this is going to sit. Okay, and then once you do that, this will go on. You'll screw these two screws in, you'll screw these other ones in. That's the rest of your bearing block screws. Okay, and then the fourth one's behind that. That's the one we just talked about that's holding it all together. And then that'll hold all that on there. Once you tighten these up and those, you're done with this. Mount your limit switch. I'll tell you which one I use. I'll put it in the description. Well, actually I did in the last video. There's a parts list on the back of that of everything that I used. So once that's mounted, in that parts list, you'll see my springs that I bought. I think they're 6mm springs, okay? And I've got all this made internally on both sides of this to where when you mount that spring is going to be just perfect enough to where it's going to bring it back to where it needs to stop, and enough springage to work correctly. So those are the springs you want. Now, after that's mounted, you have let me check something real quick. Hold on. Okay, I was right. I thought okay, so the smaller linear rail, and I got one. Let me go grab it. Hold on. All right, I'm sorry, you guys. I can't find that thing. It's buried in this electrical box that I have with all this stuff in it. Anyhow, that'll be mounted to that plate. You'll get that small linear rail. It's like a 100mm. I think it's in the parts list. Now, there's two on that parts list. you want the one with the bigger block. If you look here, that's made for a bigger block. There's a smaller one and a bigger one. Order the one that's bigger, the bigger block on a linear rail. And it's, I think, 100 millimeters. So once you get that, you'll mount that to that plate, and at the very bottom of it, in the hole that mounts to that plate, you're going to want to use a longer screw or something where that's going to act as a stop for that block to hit, okay? That's going to be your stopping point to not let that block just fly off of there. So just put a bolt through there that's going to fit exactly underneath that. Now, you don't want that bolt head or whatever you use past the point of the front of the block where it mounts to flush to this. If you guys go back in the video and watch, that's where we was having issues with that hitting this little part here. But in a newer file, I've made all that, I've shaved that out, I brought this floor out some more, the floor in this print, so everything fits better and nicer, nothing hits. But just make sure you're not past that block with the bolt or whatever you use there. I used like a little, it was a brass riser. They call them risers, like for computer boards. And I mounted it down, and that's what held my linear rail there, and it was just a little higher, and I just grinded it off until it was flush with that block, where it wasn't. I actually went down a little bit lower than that, because all that thing's doing is holding the linear rail in and acting as a stop for this thing, you know, for the block to hit against it when it's going up and down. And then just put a regular bolt in your top of your linear rail. You only need a couple bolts in it, you know, to hold it to that plate. So okay, once that's mounted, then you'll have a mount for this, for your four holes there. You'll put your springs in there. This has to go in kind of like at an angle for your springs to, because if you look here, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And that's in my design flaw there. But there's no other way to do it really, guys, to feed those springs on both, because you got to get your spring inside this hole and up in these holes. So I just held them out a little bit as I fed this one into it. And once you get that right and your springs are in there, now you can put your bolts in there. Now, in the last video, I told you I made another plate for the outside of this. It's just a small piece of metal, like about, I believe it was 14 gauge or 1/8 inch, pretty close there in the thickness. In fact, I think this might be 1/8 inch. And that may be, I think that's about what I use right there. Just cut you out a little plate like that, cut it, you know, take this before you mount all that. After you make your plate, put it on the back side. Mark your holes, drill your holes through your plate. What that does is, when you tighten this against that block, it's not letting the screws tighten just against the, and this is pretty strong stuff here, guys. I used a PLA carbon fiber. And before I made that plate, that's how I ran it. Nothing was wrong. I just wanted to do that plate thing for longevity in the future, you know what I mean? So I figured making a plate that goes against that like that would tighten up against this whole area nicer, and it wouldn't let the screws sink into the plastic, okay? So make you a plate, do that, tighten it up. Now you'll be done with that, that's it. Everything's hooked up. Everything will be mounted and done the way it should be. Go back to my video, pause it, look at it, even this one here, so you can look at my head real good, zoom in. Everything will be able to be seen, and plus what we talked about. So once you get that far, comes the mounting of your torch. Now this is set up, the way I got this set up, it's set up for a machine torch mount. If some of you don't have a machine torch and you do decide to go with this file, let me know, and what we can do is I can make you a different, because this is also set up for our lasers, guys, this bottom one. That's set up for our lasers. It's threaded and made, everything is ready for the lasers to mount in this. But what we could do is, if you don't use a machine torch, which the machine torch, guys, I think it's kind of the way to really go, because you got a top mount on it, it holds it in there sturdier. With a regular torch, it just mounts in the bottom, and that's the end of it. So we would have to make a different mount for the bottom, which wouldn't be hard. You just give me the measurement of the circumference of your torch, and I can reprint, you know, the size you're needing for it. But there's only one mount point, you know what I mean? Your torch is hanging out here. I wouldn't recommend it with this setup, with a printed head like this. Machine torch is going to be the way to go. Not unless you get creative and think of a way to, after that's mounted, you can use something like I did up here on your motor to bring your line up through there, and that'll hold it from the weight dragging down, you know, on the front of this thing, like we did on mine, you know, up here for this stuff. Any little bit's going to help, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere, because like I said, all this does, guys, it touches off, and that's all it does. Everything else just sits there. So the only time it's getting any kind of, you know, pressure on it or anything, if you want to call it pressure, is just that little instant of a push up, and you know what I mean, when it's touching off to make that micro switch go off to get your height. That's it. The rest of the time it's just floating around, floating head. So anyhow, whatever you guys think on that as far as that, but I do recommend a machine torch. It's totally up to you guys. I know they're not cheap. I mean, what was the name of that place I got mine? I'll have to look it up and let you guys know. But they make torches for every machine. They're aftermarket torches. They're not the name brand ones, but mine ain't either. Mine's supposed to be like the Hypertherm, what's the one called? It's a really nice torch, and if you buy it new, it's like $600 or $700. You know what I mean? You could get those right there for a couple $100. Let's just right around in there. I think it's like, I'm gonna have to look for the name. Dyna something. Plasma. Hang on a second. I got a sticker over here. Right there, you guys. That's the place that has consumables, the torches. He makes them there. They're like tanks, let me tell you, and everything is very affordable. Go to this site, check them out. If you guys are wanting to add a machine torch to your plasma cutters, this is the place to go right here. Super good, and the stuff comes quick. I think they're based out of, I believe, New York. I can't see that. It ain't on there. I think they're out of New York. But anyways, it comes quick. They'll send it to you fast. Cool people, they talk to you on the phone, really smart with all this stuff. In fact, that's the engineer I spoke with about a few things before I built this table. He was helping me out, just kind of figure things out. All right, hang on a second, we're gonna go back over here. All right, so now that we're this far, we can go into, okay, now I'm gonna post the wiring diagram that comes with the THC, as I said, but if you order this one, you'll get it anyways. Whatever one you order, you're gonna get it no matter what, but I'll put a little thing on the screen so you can see it. And I'll post the kit that I got from Amazon. Now, there's a change in that. The one I ordered came with a 36 volt power supply and a smaller 24 volt one. I didn't use the 36 volt one that came in the kit. I had a 24 volt. So I'll post the one that you should get that comes with 4-axis with a 24 volt supply, the correct board, motors, and etc. Now in that will also be a wiring diagram on how you wire all this, where you put your limit switch wires, how you wire everything. You'll use that in conjunction with the THC one, and you'll see they all match each other. There's only going to be a couple differences, and I'll show you with the THC one. Now, I don't know what plasma cutter you guys are all running, but they're all the same when it comes to opening the case, tapping into the front two positive and negative terminals at the front there. That's going to be for your the voltage that the THC needs to see. And then on the back of the machine, there's going to be a board that comes off of the back of the machine. Or you'll follow what you'll do is, on mine, on the back of it, there's a board, and that's where my pin number 1 and 2 comes in for my trigger wires. The easiest way to do that is take apart your gun, see what color wires are right there, and come into the machine where your torch plugs in at, and then kind of follow where the wires go to a little board. There'll be a little board. It looks just a little breakout board, kind of like the one you're using for the that comes in this kit for the for the CNC kit. And on that board there'll be a plug, and you'll see pins 1 and 2 on that board. You have to look real close, take a picture of it with your phone, blow it up, whatever you need to do there to see it. But on the number 1 and 2, you'll tap into those. And then what I done was, I ran that to the back of the machine, drilled a hole, and I'll show you which ones I use. I use those pin connectors where one mounts to the machine, and then I made a cable on the outside of the machine that just plugs right into it. Same with the front 2 voltage wires. I brought them to the back of the machine, drilled a hole, and did that. I'll show you here in a second. I showed it in the second video, but I'll show it to you again. And so basically that's what I'm saying. You'll get the wiring diagram with both of those things, so don't be all flustered about that. It's pretty simple. Just do one thing at a time, wire one thing at a time. Don't worry about everything that's coming up ahead in this build. Like if you just do one thing at a time as you're going through it, you'll see that it all was simple. You know what I mean? Nothing. Don't let yourself get flustered with all the crap and the wiring and the just, oh man, this is a lot. It's not. It really ain't. In fact, when you start doing it and wiring it, you'll get into a rhythm of, because some of those get the same 5-volt wire, and you can just make a junction block on your inside of your electric panel and just come off of there for each thing for the 5-volt, each thing for the ground. You know, you'll see that it's pretty simple. A lot of those get the same thing. The only thing you're going to be doing different is bringing in your motor wires and your limit switch wires to the breakout board, and your drivers for your motors. But simple, guys. Don't let it fluster you. All right. So once you're this far, then we're going to go into the part where we're setting everything up. So let me show you this real quick down here. I'll show it to you again. I showed it once, but in the other video. I don't know if we can get down here. So those are the type I use right there. Those two, right there, 1 and 2. Okay, one's the, like I said, one's the voltage, and one's the trigger, number 1 and 2, the trigger to fire the torch. Okay. Now that's where I was confused in the beginning with this THC, and I'll explain that to you guys once I post the chart. I thought inside of the machine, when you wire your relay for the torch firing, I thought you didn't have to do that anymore. I thought the THC controlled all that, which I was wrong. You still got to wire your relay, and those wires still go to the THC, and you'll see it on the wiring diagram. And then the voltage wires also come in to the THC. There's a spot for both of them. But I just thought, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought you don't need to relay no more, and the THC does it all. That was very wrong. So, but simple, guys. I'll show you again. No big deal there. Don't get yourself ahead of things, and one thing at a time. All right. So we're that far. Let me get things set up now on how we're going to set all of our heights and stuff like that, and so you can get that all correct in your settings. Now, one more thing before I forget. I'm trying to just remember things here. The post processor file. I'll post the guy's link again that has it. I also have it. If you guys need it, I'll send it to you. But that's the one that works with Mach 3, or I'm sorry, Fusion 360 and Mach 3. That's the post processor file for that. They were saying, the guys that I got that file from, they couldn't find any post processor file in Fusion that worked with Mach 3. Well, before I got that file from them, I played with a couple of them, and I found one that come over into Mach 3 and worked. Maybe they changed it since the time of the thing they did the video. I don't know, but we'll just, to make things simple, we'll use the one that we have. But there is files in Fusion that I found that worked with Mach 3. I'm not sure later on if there's going to be an issue with it pausing or doing something weird, but it did work. They said they didn't find any that worked, so maybe that was changed. Anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there. What else was I going to say about? All right, let me get this set up, and we'll come back and we'll start doing that. All right, you guys, let me open up Mach 3. Now, the unpaid version, you only get a few lines with it, meaning you can only do a very small file. This is the paid version here. It was like, I forget what I paid. I think I got it on a Black Friday deal. It was like $150 or something like that, and it's yours for good. Then you can put whatever file you want in it. If you plan on doing this with Mach 3 and Fusion 360, buy the license. Don't waste your time, because like I said, a small little test cut file, it'll do it, but anything else, you ain't gonna get nothing out of it. All right, so let's go into the config here. Ports and pins and motor outputs. If you guys want to zoom in on this, these are the things you're gonna have to check and uncheck according to the way it's wired on the directions that you do them. This is how you're gonna set all your pins. The numbers on your pins, this will all be the same, so you can put that down in yours too. Just make it all the same as this. Now, on this x-axis, X and A are two of the same motors. There's one on each side. One of them is going to have to be changed in the direction to work the same direction as the other one is, okay? So what you'll do, how you'll do that is, don't keep it away from the gear rack at first, where you can just watch your gear spin. Run the motors, meaning with the keyboard, run your x-axis on the keyboard and touch it and see which way the motors are going. You want them both to spin in the same direction. So either this one or that one you're going to reverse. I got this one reversed because the X was going in the correct direction before I had to change it. I'm sorry, the A was, so I just reversed the X. But that's that. If you want to put them all the same. Your input signals, this is for your the limit switches, and Your port number is always going to be 3. These are the pins you use on the board. 2, 1, 4's down here. That's for the A home. That's the homing on the A, on the X-axis A motor. That's when we have it on there. Now down here, you're going to use the probe. That's for the floating head. Check that one, and that's going to be 3 and pin 3. E-stop, that was on before. I didn't mess with that. I don't have an E-stop on it yet. Everything else is just like that, and it all works good. Output signals. This is going to be for your relay that triggers the torch, and that's on output 1 according to the wiring. So you'll just check that, port 3 and pin number 1. We have it on 1 on the board, and I think that's it for in here. Yep. And everything else is just stuff we're not going to use: encoders, spindles, mill options. So pause it, look at this, make all your settings the same right here, and everything will be fine. That's about it in here. Now on the homing and limits, same thing. X, Y, that's your A motor. Yeah, so that's it. Z don't have one. That's why I was looking at that. So we only have 3 limit switches on. The other one for the Z axis, that's going to be hooked to your, as I said, your the probe. That's on the probe. That's how it knows where to do it. It's actually not working as a homing in here. You don't have it in here. You'll have it as your probe, as I just showed you. So in here you'll just check, just like this is. Just make all these like this. This is the speeds of your homing. You can play with these speeds if you want. This is where I got mine set at. But just make it all like that. Pause the screen, put in these same numbers here. And that's about it as far as that goes. Now you'll mess with, this video is not about this, but under motor tuning and stuff, this is where you're going to do that, where I showed you in, I think the 3rd video, where I took a measurement and, let's get out of here, under settings. And we did the steps per unit. Okay, this is where I showed you. If you want to go back and watch that, this is how you're going to set all that. Now, once you set your X, remember your A motor has to be the same as the X. So after you set the X, the correct, you'll punch in the measurement and everything like that. Watch that video so you can see how I did it, and then you'll go back into your motor tuning, and you have to make sure X over here and A have all the same numbers down here. You see how these are all the same here on A? You go up to X, they're all the same on X, because those motors churn together. Don't forget that. Remember, that's why we did the reverse one, so it runs in the same direction. But your speeds have to also be the same. So once you set your 1 on this side, then you're going to come back and put your numbers. All you got to do is just highlight them, copy them, go back over into the other one, and paste it in there. Same with all 3 of these. Don't worry about these, just do these 3 here. And then you'll hit Save Access Settings right there. This will light up for you. Save Access, and then hit OK. And then those 2 motors will be set. But like I said, go back and watch that video, and you'll see what I'm talking about on that. Now in here, this is where we're going to set our the torch height. And this digitize right here, that's going to be the one that starts to glow as we keep coming down. We're going to go through it here in a minute, but I just want you to see this is where we're going to do it at. Real quick, let's go over here. I want to show you something with these shims. So if you don't have any of these, guys, go to Harbor Freight, get you a cheap set, or order some off Amazon. You use these a lot with any kind of this work anyways. Get you a set of these, guys. A set of feeler gauges. Doesn't matter, Harbor Freight, AutoZone, everybody has them. Take it apart, take your things out of there. Keep them all together because you don't want to mess up the order they're in. And what I do is I just line them up like this. Now, if you look up on Google or anywhere, like you say, hey Google, what's my cut height supposed to be on 1/8" mild steel on my plasma table? It's going to say the preferred cut height, okay? Your initial cut. So 060 is where I got mine. So on these gauges here, I'm going to go through and find. So I have 21, 20, and 19. Okay. So if you grab those 3, put them together, take your gauge and check it, that's going to be 60. Hope you guys can see that. So that's where we're going to set our cut height. All right, and then we'll double that for our other one. So let's go back over here. I just wanted to show you how I do this with these. We'll leave that there a minute. All right, I'm gonna cut our machine on. I'm gonna come back into Mach 3. We can come out of here for now. Go to program run. Your reset's going to always be blinking, so set that. Now I have this little thing here. It's nice to have to be able to move your stuff over there. So what we're going to do is I cut it on. We're going to go over here now. You can also do this with your keyboard, guys. You don't need this. Just if you want to do it, spin your thing around, use your keyboard. All right, and if you hold this like this, hope you guys can see all this. If you hold this like this, the arrows that this is the way that it goes. So this one over here is going to bring the torch this way. This one up here is going to take the torch that way. It's really simple. And that's the way you're going to know if you have your motor direction correctly in your, when you're setting up your, where I showed you one of them's got to be the opposite or whatever. If anything's going any different than what we just did it, you're going to have to hit that one on the right and click it to reverse it, because it's going the wrong way. Because when you hit home, it's going to go the other way. It's going to home incorrectly. So that's how you're really going to know that you're in the wrong direction. Hit your homing and see which way it goes. And if anything, when you're setting all this up, guys, if anything goes the wrong way or starts to do something wrong, hit that stop button I just showed you. Just stop it all, make your changes, redo it. Don't let it keep going and, you know, mess up off of it, because you're going to set up your soft limits too. How far your thing can go that way, how far your access can go that way. That's all a whole different video, but I just want to go over that real quick. All right, so once we get it here, get it to where it's going to be somewhere decent on the metal. All right, so what I do is I'll put we're going to set our height first. I put a piece of paper there. Now this is page down and page up. So on here you got to hold the function button and hit the down. Bring it down. On the keyboard you should just have page up and page down. All right, so let me slow this down. And the way you slow it down and speed it up, guys, you hit your tab on the keyboard and it brings this up. This is a touch screen. If you don't have touch screen, just go over with the mouse and click that. Click that, oops, click that, and I'm gonna change that to 5%, enter. Okay, now our thing's gonna be slower. So now what I'll do is, once again, function, I'm just gonna keep tapping it until my paper's just dragging easy. Didn't realize I was so far from it. There it goes, too much. So go up, just a hair down. When you can put your paper under it, and make sure your tip is clean, because if there's any poop, that's why I always like cleaning my stuff, because if you ever got to go through and reset it, this is what you're going to be doing. See, I'm just pushing that through there. I don't even have to force it. So that's going to be my, yep, okay, right there. All right, let's go back over here. Now what you'll do, zero the Z. Now we're zeroed. Make that 10 now, so we don't have to wait longer. All right, now go into the diagnostic. Remember, don't forget to zero that first. Diagnostics. Now we'll use the keyboard here. I'm going to hit page down. So my head's going to be going down right now as I'm hitting page down. We're looking for this to light up. So just tap it. See the numbers moving? That means our Z is moving down. And if you look over here, up at these numbers, you can see it's going down. Z is going down. And keep watching the digitize till it lights up. We're waiting. So what's going on now? Let me show you over here. What's going on now is this is coming down and the switch is going up. We're wanting it to click and light the light up, just so you know. Okay, keep going down. Boom, right there. Okay, so now I'm going to go up. I'm just tapping it. I want that light to cut off. Okay, off. Now I'm going to go back down. I'm just tapping it on. So now I'm just going to try to find an in-between. I'm going to go back up, one tap, two tap, go back down, one tap, go back up, one tap, two tap. So I'm hitting it differently. One tap down, two taps down, three taps down, one tap up, two taps up. Okay, one tap down, two taps down, one tap up. That's where we're going to leave it at. So I know I'm kind of like in between where we just did all that. So now go back to program run. There's our number now, minus 0.1935. Okay, write that down or whatever you want to do there. Open up Fusion. Now real quick, guys, I'm going to set up a little test cut for you real quick. So we're going to do create a sketch. We'll use the top plane. Let's make a, we'll start in the center. Let's make a 4-inch tab floor, a little test plate. Make a circle in it. Let's do 0.075 or 0.75. Let's make another one here, 1.25. Okay. Let's make a, this is going to be for your test cut. This is going to be an oval, so we'll go down an inch, whoops, inch, a little over an inch by a little over ½ inch. And let's make another square in here. So half by 1.3. Okay, there's our test. So now let's extrude that to 1/8 inch. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and round the corners a little bit on a couple sides of it, just so we can make, so we'll do this one, control, and that one. Okay, so there's our test piece. All right, this is gonna be what we test cut. So we're in the design now. Now we're gonna go to the manufacture. In here, first you gotta go through the setup. We're gonna choose this point as our starting point. Wait a minute, what did I do wrong? Why is my, oh, go back into design. Make sure, you see how this top is not straight? Make sure that's just like that, where you can read the top, because if not, it won't let us choose that corner in the next menu. We was actually churned. Okay, go back to manufacture, setup. Now we can choose this corner here. Okay, now we're correct. Choose the body. All this really don't matter here, guys. I usually do set this to 0 though. The top offset, I always have. It doesn't do anything. Here you can name this. Name this whatever you want. Test. I've got a few of these, so I'm gonna do test number 7. Hit OK. Now, go into cutting. Now in here, here's where you're gonna be. This is a whole nother video too, guys. You're gonna have to go in here, set you up a folder. There's good videos on this. Find one on how to set up tooling for a plasma cutter. But I've got a few set up just for now. I got 3/16, 14 gauge and 1/8 inch. So we'll choose 1/8 inch. I already have my feed speed set here and everything. You'll set that when you add it. Here's where you're gonna add your tool up here. New tool, and go through and make a new tool. But once you do all that, and you find a video and you watch it and you make your tool, choose the one we're doing, the 1/8 inch, hit select, and then go to the next one. Here's where you're gonna choose what to cut. I usually just click on this. If there ain't real skinny lines in there that I gotta choose and change settings in, I just click it right on that, and it's gonna cut it just all how it needs to be cut. Once again, the stock, the top offset, I make the 0 there. You don't have to. Now in here, I've always done this. I change this to 1, and I hit smoothing. Here's where, you see where this says left, center, right. If you got skinny lines and stuff like that, here's where you're gonna have to choose center cut. And there's videos on this too, guys. There's so much stuff on Fusion to learn that this is not enough time in this video. So I'm just showing you how I'm gonna make this piece if you wanna walk through and do it the same with me. That's all we're gonna do here. In here, I change this to 0.05. That's my lead in. This to 90 degree. And then I also do my lead, the distance, 0.05. Here, I'm gonna hit the select here. I want it to start cutting here. Hit OK, and there's our cut. There's how it's gonna cut, just like you see it there. Now, you have to make sure you choose this top one, setup right there. Hit your post-process. Now you see it say test 7 right there? Let's cancel this. If you choose this one and then do that, oh no, I'm sorry, it will do the same because we only have one. Now if you had a couple different ones under this, different setups, like I was just talking about, say we had some, just a line to cut there and a line to cut here, you're gonna be setting them up differently. Like I said, there's videos on that, but you're gonna keep creating more setups down through here. When you have more than one, you wanna always choose that top one before you hit post-process, because it'll just say the number of it. It won't say the file that you named it early on in the setup folder. So make sure you choose that top one. All right, now once we're in here, here's where you're gonna load that file, the post-process file. After you get it from me or whoever, you're gonna put it in a folder and you're gonna come in here and choose it, all right? It'll always stay there once you choose it the first time. So once you choose it, make sure you go to the folder you put it in, choose it once. Here's where your files are gonna go to when you post them. So go in here and change it wherever you want them to go. I got mine going to Mach 3 cut files. All right, make you a folder, cut files, whatever. So every time you send over a post-process file, a post file, it'll go into that folder. So here's where we're gonna do our heights, guys. Here's that G probe offset. This is that number we just did. All right, so it was 0.1935. So come back into Fusion, 0.1935. That's set. You ain't gotta never change this again. And the only reason why you just seen that number was different from what we just did it now, it's because when I did it last time, I may have used a skinnier metal or whatever, and it was a different, when the light cut on when we was doing it, or I may have tapped it one more time or whatever, and it gave me a different number. Either way, as long as it's close to where you're doing that up and down thing we was doing to try to get it close, that's the number you're gonna wanna put in there, just like we just did it. All right, pierce height. pierce delay and cut height. Let's go ahead and, so what we'll do here is, you can start out and put these numbers in here. That can be sick. I got mine to 58 because when I'll show you here in a minute. You can put these numbers in for now, 0.058. For 1/8 inch, I usually go 0.6 or 0.7. Now, with this THC, there's a setting in the THC that has to match this. If it's 0.7 here, you have to make sure it's 0.7 in the THC. You're cutting something thicker and it's 1.0. When we put it to 1.0 there, you need to go back down to your THC and go into the menu and change that to 1.0. If not, it's not going to be a correct pierce delay. It'll do whatever it wants. You may get a longer, you may get a shorter, whatever. You want that to match. And I believe that's with every THC. That has to always match whatever's in the THC. On this type, on the Langmeyer and stuff like that, it's made in the program. You don't have to keep doing that because their fire control software, they've got it set to where you ain't got to do that. You know, with Mach 3 and bringing it in from over here, this has to be correct. And with a aftermarket THC controller, theirs is made into their system. They've made that into their system. So we're using an aftermarket from someone else. So we have to match that. It's not a big deal, you know what I mean? Just always remember that. Whatever your pierce delay is, you got to make sure it's the same on that. And most of the time, if you're cutting a bunch of 1/8 inch or 14 gauge or whatever you're going to be making signs or whatever, you're not going to be always changing that too much. That's always going to be pretty close to 6 or 7 right there, unless you're cutting really thick stuff. So I've never changed that yet. It's always been 7 here and 7 in my THC. It's a good starting number for a delay. And that's just your fire, how long it sits there and fires, 7 seconds. And this here, 0.2, this is a 0.20 is what this is. So it's actually a little bit higher than the pierce height. This is the safe Z height. This is where the torch is going to come up before it goes to the next cut. Now, if you don't want it to hit something, then you'll increase this number a little bit more, 0.25 or 0.3 if you want it to raise even higher. Be careful going too high, because if you're already high up on your ball screw, this part here, if this is already up, close to there, the base of that, when you raise that to real high, it's gonna hit that. So you don't want to do that. But the numbers that are in there now are pretty much perfectly where you want to have them at. So just set them like that as for now. So like I said, punch in these same numbers on yours, and it's going to get you close, because we're going to do a test here in a minute. This is the one we really, really want to have for sure. These we're going to check here in a second. So write them, or put them down on yours just like this, and then go ahead and post it. A thing will pop up down here, successfully posted. So minimize this. Go into your load G code. We want test 7, and it loads it. Now with the free version, this is small. This will do this. And you get in some of these other bigger things with a bunch of them, it'll stop. It'll only load half of it, or just a little bit of it. Whatever you're allowed with the free program, that's what it'll load, just some of the lines. All right, so let's go back over here. We're gonna go ahead, bring this up. Let me change my speed, so I'm gonna hit tab, put my speed to 100 for now. All right, let's bring our head back up. Let's cut our lasers on. Hopefully you guys go with this so you guys can have lasers too. So we're gonna zero this out. Let's see if we're square here. Close. We're going off just a hair. So I'm gonna move my metal just a little bit right there. I'm right on the edge. We're a little bit thick there, so bring that over some more right there. Check it again. Okay, good. Let's check our bottom real quick. And you guys hear how smooth this is, guys? With this gear rack system here, the 1.0 and the 18 tooth gear, it's just like butter. I'm serious, guys. I'm so glad I tried that. Let me change my speed now to, I'm gonna just put it to 5. Now I can move my head over just a little where I want to zero it, right about there. All right, cut your lasers off. Let's go over here. I'm gonna put that back. I run mine about 65. Okay, now I can tab and get rid of that. So now zero, we just zeroed, so zero all these, okay? Now we're zeroed on our cut piece. As you can see here, we're zeroed into this corner, all right? So now with no plasma cutter on, when I'm talking to you guys, this is what I'm gonna be doing over here, because I can't show you the camera over there and do this at the same time. When it goes to go pierce the cut, I'm gonna hit stop. First we're gonna hit, that's ready. You can reset this one more time just to make sure. I always reset it just so it clears everything out. So the next thing is gonna be cycle start. We're gonna run this cut, all right? As soon as it gets over to the part where it's getting ready to pierce it, I'm gonna hit stop. That's how we're gonna check our height on that. So just remember, when I'm saying that I'm hitting stop, that's what I'm doing over here. All right. Right now I'm gonna hit cycle start. It's gonna go over, it's gonna touch off. This is the number we put in for the touch off. Watch it click. Perfect. Now it's gonna go and do the first cut. Now I'm gonna go to the next one. When it goes to the next one, I'm gonna stop it right now. I think I already missed it. Let's let it go through this. I'll stop it on the next one. Nope, that was the pierce cut. Okay. Right there. Oh, hold on. You gotta catch it. That's way too high. I think it's because I stopped it weird. Okay, that's our cut. I'm sorry guys, hang on. We'll do it on this one. It's gonna touch off. Here's the pierce, stop it right there. Okay, let's check the pierce height real quick. So I need to get 120 together. Hang on a second. All right, if you look, that's 120. Now we're gonna put these under here and test our height. These are the numbers we got in Fusion. So it's right there. I mean, it is right there, pretty much on the money. All right, now we're gonna get 60 back out. That's our 60. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hit start again and let it start cutting. Okay, now stop it again in the middle of the cut. Now we wanna check our cut height. That's 60, boom. If you remember, I got mine at 58 because when I checked it before, 60 had a little gap in it. So 58 is worked out good. Now you play with your numbers. Yours may be different. You might put 60 in and it might be too low. You might have to bump up the number just a hair to get it to be exactly 60. You know what I mean? So you'll play with it from here once you check it. Say you put 60 in there and that torch is still a little bit higher. Get you the gauge that fits it. And if it's 65 or 68, you're going to bump that number up 3 or 4 more numbers so you can get your correct height. You know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, you're going to come down that many numbers. Even if it says 60 and you put in 65 and you want it to be 60, you're going to set your thing to 55 and that's going to make it 60 out here. You get what I'm saying? All right, once this is done, we're set. You'll never have to change that in Fusion no more. I'm going to go ahead and raise this. I don't care to cut it no more. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, close the G code. We don't. So now I can if I want to home it all or go back to 0 where we zeroed it, I'm going to hit 0. It's going to raise it and bring it back right to where we was. Everything we zeroed it at. Okay. Now, say that what I just said. You're all finished. Your machine's set. Other than, like I said, this video is about the THC and the floating head setup. The other stuff you guys are going to have to look into, guys. I tried to show you a little bit of it, but there's just so much more to that. There's plenty of videos. But every time you make a file now, let's go back into design here. I'm going to open up. Let me go into, let's just say, let me find something down here. These leg brackets. Okay. These are for the bottom of the plasma table where I mounted my feet. All right, you're done, you made it, or you got a file you want to cut. Now you go back into manufacture. You'll go through all your setups, blah, 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 like we did. When you go into the post-process, all your numbers are going to be here now. You don't have to never change them. The only thing you're going to change, like I said to you guys, is the pierce delay, that 0.7. If you're cutting something thicker, or say you want to bring that down to 0.5, and I'll show you in the unit how to change that. So we're done in here. Now I'm going to show you how to set the THC up to cut correctly. It's lunch now. I'll be back after lunch and we'll go over that. All right, you guys, after you get everything wired up and your machine's powered on, I've got it zeroed out up here on our work piece. So the way this works is, this is the easiest way to set this thing up, okay? So if you push both of these arrows at the same time, it gets you in the setup menu. So what we want to do first, together, together, together. Okay, we want to be here high, so see that's 3. We want to set this all the way up past 7 to where it says off. All right, and just leave it alone for a minute. It'll go out of the menu on its own. Okay, I'm gonna bring you back up here, hang on. All right, I got my G code loaded. I got my machine on. Let's put our ground clamp on. Now, like I said, this table has a ground built into it. I just put another cable to that with a clamp out here, just in case you know, you get this buildup and stuff and there's not a good connection. On a big long cut, it would mess, you know, in the middle of it, stop because of a ground. I don't want to have that. Okay, G-code's loaded, we're zeroed in, ground clamp, machine set to 40 amps. Got everything set. We're going to do a cut just the way we set our THC down there just now. So what this is going to do is it's going to run our Z motor, but it ain't going to run the torch height control. We're going to be able to set it manually at what it likes. And then we're going to cut that one thing back on that I just showed you, the HYC, and then the torch height control will work. We'll do another cut after we set it. Usually it says on that to set it right around 100 to 120 is the ideal cut range. You don't want it to drag, so we're going to watch it and see how it does here. I got it at we'll see here in a second. I think it's like 114 or 15. I'm going to go ahead and start the cut. And I'm going to watch it down here and see what it says. I'm going to touch off. Yeah, 114. Let's see what it does here at one. Cut it out nice, so we're going to see here. Hold on. We're going to check our back after we make this cut. It's at 114. I'm going to continue to watch it. And you can adjust it on the front of these dials as it's cutting, up or down. I mean, that fell out pretty nice, guys. Hang on. Let's get this up and out of the way. Whoops. When the keyboard's not like this, like it's all mixed up. Okay, hold on a second. Hang on, let me grab a rag and a thing. Okay. So these cuts look very nice, guys. Let's see how this falls off. Comes right off. I mean, all of it comes right off. So what you can do from here is, all right, guys, I'm going to keep mine right where it's at. Sorry, guys, I ran out of the SD card. I got a couple small cards in there. Anyways, you can play with that height, okay? You can drop it down some more, make another test cut. Once you get it to where you like it, I mean, I'm happy with this for right now, you guys. This is not bad at all. I mean, it's coming right off. So, in fact, I've changed it since my last video where I cut that piston out, and it's cutting really nice. So, I mean, even a little bit more might be even better. But I'll play with that. I don't want to burn up my SD card right now. But anyways, once we do this, and you get your setting the way you like it, let's go back down here. Okay, now, go back to the HYS menu. Okay, we're going to bring it back down to 3. That's where I got mine at, guys, and it seems to work good there. I think this is it says the voltage tolerance. So the lag between making a change, such as increasing or decreasing voltage, and the response. So it's kind of like the response of the voltage, and it goes from 1 to 7, the menu, but default is 1 to 3. So I got mine at 3, and it's been working great. All right, so now the torch height control is back on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this back to 0. Hang on a second, because I'll tell you where in a second. Let's go back to 0. The reason why I've done that is because all I'm going to do now is move my torch to here, and we're going to make a new cut with the torch height control working. So take that over to right about, hang on, I'm hitting other buttons over here. I should have my remote in my hand. Whoops. All right, we'll cut right there. Make my new zeros, zero it out. Now, we're going to do the cut again with the torch height control working. Okay, it was just stuck. I was like, why didn't that fall out? I'm at about 114 on mine, guys. Well, something happened there. Not sure what it is. Oh, you know what? I started messing with that setting. Let me cut a new one, guys. Hang on a second. I started messing with that while I was cutting. Let me go over. Yeah, we'll go right here. Hold on. We'll go right here. I want to cut a new one out. Hang on a second. All right, we'll zero it out. Actually, let me clean the bottom of this. There's a little bit of stuff on it where I think we had it a little too low. At one point, yep. Yeah, we was too close. We was too close at one time. I raised it, and that's what happened right there on that. Oh, it drug. I'll probably have to change my. No, it feels okay. Okay, we're good. All right, let's try a new one. Re-zero. Yeah, I'm at about 114, 115 on mine, guys. We're going to check it here. This is with the torch height control working now. Okay. We're right on top of that flat. All right, so actually, I can stand to go up a little bit. I think I'm down too low on mine. Yeah, this is way worse. So, I'm going to go to right around 120. Let me change that. I like to get it working decent, because the one without the torch height control cut the best. Because right now it's on, and it's making it go to where we got the setting at. So we're going below what it is, and so when the voltage changes it'll change it. So let me go over here. Hold on. We'll go to this one. We're probably going to cut into something here. That's okay. All right, guys. I got it set at 119. Let's try that. And everybody's thing's going to be different here, guys. So you'll have to play with this. That will adjust to how the metal's moving. And you can see it's going up and down. I'm just going to hold it for a second. Yeah, we're right around 119. I may be going the wrong way. We cut right on that hole. Yeah, we're getting too much this way. So I think I need to go way back down, to be honest with you. Let me try that. I'm going to set it back to 110. I'm going to bring it right here. Hang on 1 second. All right, guys, I'm at 110, the height now. Let's see what that does. It's staying at 110 too, and they're coming out nice. Yeah, I went the wrong way. Yeah, we've even got a cleaner cut. I can see it. Yeah, we've got a cleaner cut on the edges. I can see it. I'm right on that line. I don't want to touch that thing. It's probably hot. Woo! It's stuck to the slat. Let me grab this. It's coming off easy, but I still have a lot on there. Yeah, it's coming off easy. But like I said, I'm not going to waste this whole thing on this, guys, but this is what you have to do. I'm going to get this set when I'm not on camera, but this is how you got to mess with it. You're going to have to set your heights and get all your settings correct. Yeah, and come up with a good height. I'm beginning to wonder if I don't have to go. I'm going to try something drastic on my off of the video, because this one cut the best, and that's when we was setting it. I mean, that one cut beautifully. And I'm going to have to go back in the video and see what I have my numbers at. I think I had them at 110 with that off. So that means I have to set I may have to come down on my HYS. I think that's how that works. You have to play with those settings, guys, to get that correct. You keep messing with it until your dross is at the minimum, is what I'm getting at. So hang on 1 second. All right, guys, now that this part's covered, basically, like I said, play with your numbers the same way we just did it until you come up with a very happy, you know. Okay, first thing I want to talk about here is what we said about the plasma cutter, the wires you're going to tie into. So if you see from the outside here, you're going to have the negative side and the positive side. On the inside, when you take your cover off, you're going to have to tap onto those wires and bring these two back to the back side of this thing with that little pin I showed you on mine, the 2-pin connector. If you want to do it that way, you don't have to. You can just run it through the back, the wires, or take them right out of the back of it and then bring them into your torch height control right here. And here's where you're going to put them at. Negative on the outside here and a positive on the outside there. Now here's a basic layout of a 3-axis. The only thing that would change here would be the XA. So it'd be one more down here, but it's all going to be the same, and you're going to have 4 drivers and 4 motors. But everything's going to be the same here. I'll show you in a second. Let's see here. And this all is the same way when you're wiring this up. It's simple to do this. You just follow these, and you see how these jump over here, and these are all the same, jumps over there. So that one line is controlling all these. And it's going to this over here, and I believe that's this is using 5-volt supply to run this. This is how I have mine connected here. You can do it with 24 volt, but you don't need it, and it's going to change things. You're going to have to do things differently. This is for the anti-dive right here, this wire. It goes here. Let me see something here. Now on this, I've got a picture saved of this. I'm going to post it in the video. But this one is how, and by the way, this is the one that you have to order. This has the 24 volt power
power supply, the board, 4 motors, and four drivers. Now here's how you wire it. And this is, if you look at this setup here, it's going to be the same as if we look at on his, how they come in and go. All you're doing is, so you're going to kind of try to follow both and do it. And then on, I believe, let's see here. Here's all your limits. Your limits are on this side of the board, of the motion card. Your homing, X, Y, A, and that's the limit switches. Okay, you see this relay here? Right there. I can't zoom. I'm going to have to get the picture and do this, but anyways, that's the relay that I have on my parts list on the last video. And if you go up, they have it on the output 3, okay? And then there is the other one's the ground. So that's how you wire the relay. Now, on the outside part of the relay, the other side of it, which is going to be, is it 1 and 2 here? I'll have to look on mine and I'll post it. But anyways, those are the 2 wires that are going to go to the 1 and 2 pin of in the back of this plasma cutter, the 1 and 2 pin that triggers the torch. So that's how you trigger that with that relay I just showed you to the 1 and 2 pin. And back to this is how it receives the voltage reading to make the THC work, and those will go on this side of the THC. It's pretty simple, guys. If you follow this one wire at a time, don't get confused. You can zoom in, on these. Now this is the same one you'll get all these directions and stuff when you order this the THC controller from this guy, which, by the way, was that one? Yeah, this is the one right here, the THC 17DP. That's the one I got. And if you go here, this Danny THC, this is how much you pay. It comes out of Bulgaria, and it's pretty quick. You'll have it within less than a week. I kid you not. It's pretty quick shipping. But what else was it to say on this guy? Oh, so, and if you have any other questions on this, guys, you shoot this guy a message, and I kid you not, he gets right back to you. There's no, I mean, it's quick. So in this, back in here, if you go up, and here's this down here. By the way, guys, this tells you the ideal cut height, and it's telling you right around 100, okay? I wanted to tell you guys before I start on this, mine ended up being, I set it at 120, and once I kicked that, this back on, I got too close in now. Once I kicked on this, and by the way, let me explain this to you. Once I kicked this back on, remember we shut it off first to run it and try to set a height. Mine ended up being like at 120. I kicked this back on and I got it set at 3. I tried 4, I tried 2. 3 works the best. So what this means is, but from what I understand here and what I just went through, if you read this, basically, let's say you have, and it explains it right here, let's say you set the voltage to 100 volts, okay? The value is set at 3. On the down output, if the torch voltage goes over 103, or yeah, that's when it's going to work it, if it goes over 103. And on the up output, if it will respond after the torch voltage goes under 97, so then it'll bring it up. So down, if it responds over 100 volts, I'm sorry, 103, then it's going to work it. 97 on the up, and so it's by 3. So basically, if you set this to 2, then that's going to be 98, and then that will be 101, I believe. I believe it will be 101. And then go up to 4, that would be 102. This would be 96. You get what I'm saying? So just kind of read that just to understand it. And basically, now see here it says that the default value for this is at the 2 volt setting. So when you get it, it'll be set to 2. And I recommend this when you put this thing to use. Don't touch any of these settings other than this one. Now this T thing here that you think it's a T or whatever that looks like, it's really an E. That's SEU. This field here won't read these good, and he'll explain that to you if you ever talk to him on the, like if you text him a thing. So this is really SEU. And if you look up here, see how that's the E up here now? You just can't see this. I think it says it here somewhere. STU, STV. It's really this though. It's really an E. But that's where you're going to set that voltage when you to your how high you want it. Like I just told you, mine's at 120. So now I kick back on this HYS, this hysteris, I don't know what you want to call it. Anyways, mine's set to 3, like I said. Now that it's back on, and like we just did it in the video, you want to set it with that off, so you go past 7 and it kicks it off, and then you set it where it cuts the best at. Play with it. You don't have to. You can, as you're running your cut, you can push these 2 buttons one at a time, up or down, to get your torch to raise or lower. That'll raise it. This will lower it. Wherever you see in your thing cut the best, stop there. Leave that number alone. Go back and cut this HYSIS thing back on, and then that'll your machine will work great that way. So, and then you can play with it from there. You don't have to do anything. You can start cutting the part, and if you see that it's cutting weird on cut the next part, bump it down a couple or bump it up a couple. That's going to basically show you. And right where I showed you that down here, telling you the ideal height. Where was it? Like I said, you'll get all this stuff, guys, with your thing. Okay, right here. So it's basically telling you what's the best. You know what I mean? So basically 100's the ideal cut height. Between 100 and 120 is where you're going to end up at. Just depends on where your torch is sitting, where your machine's at. But mine ended up being 120. I play with it from 117 to 120, and I'm feeling pretty good at 120 for now. I'm going to cut some things and see how it goes, but that's just to show you guys. And then this is kind of telling you what's going on when you got a curvy plate or it's moving. That's something else, guys. I kept messing with that out there, and I realized that the smaller the piece of metal was that I put on the table, and the more that it moved, the more these numbers was changing on me. So it was making more slag on the bottom as the THC was working, trying to compensate. So that will change things, and you can get an inaccurate reading over that. So what you want to do is get your metal down, make sure it's flat to the table, and if you have to put a couple weights on each end to keep it down, I would, just so it's not moving around on you. This will do its thing as it's going through the metal, the THC will, but you don't want to add more to it by the metal moving as it's cutting, because then it's going to change everything. And that's what mine was doing. I had a little piece of metal on there, and even though the THC is supposed to compensate for that, when the metal's moving on top of what this thing's doing, it makes it worse, I'm telling you. So you want to try to keep that flat on the table, because when I realized that was going on, I held my hand on the plate while I cut the next one on the numbers that I had, and it cut it beautifully, like that first one we cut. So that's what made me figure out what was going on when I seen that. So anyways, I'm going to post that. Is it this one? Yeah, I'll post this one on the video there, so you can pause it and look at it. I'll put it in as a picture. And this one here, I already saved this as a picture. I'll put it in the thing, so you can pause that one. And just look through them, look through the wiring. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to find a picture that I have of the relay wiring, and I'll try to post it too on how the wires go. Actually, let me try to do that now. Hold on a second. I'll be back here in a second. Okay, guys, here's the relay. I'm going to also post this in the video so you guys can pause it and look at it. Or here where I'm talking, doesn't matter. I'll still do it. But that's the relay. I got it in that parts list on the last video. So when you buy this wire, this one is the four strand insulated. And so basically here's what's going on. This out here, this number 5 and this number 3, those are the two that go to your 1 and 2 pins of your plasma cutter. Okay, these two, 8 and 7, that's your power and your ground. That's the ones that's going to be on that THC that we just looked at, the outer ones. That's how that's going to. No, I'm sorry. Scratch that. That's for your other one. That's for your voltage. These two wires here are going to go to on your board, on your control board, on your USB board. The red one will go to pin output. I think we use 3, and then the black one will go to the ground. Okay, so that output. And what I just showed you on the screen earlier, where you can pause under the settings that I was showing you guys on the screen, you can pause that when I got to the top of the one that said outputs. That number 3, I think it was, that's where this red wire is going to go on the board, to the output side of the board of number 3 pin. And then the black one here will go to the ground. And then the settings, just set them the same as I showed you guys when I said pause it and do the settings, and then that will control this relay. You can go in Mach 3 and actually click on right when you're in Mach 3, there's a place there it says THC. You can click on the bar there and it'll activate this. You can do this without the torch on. You can click that and you can listen to this thing click and work as you're doing it, and that'll show you that your relay is working. But there's the relay you want. I got them in the parts list. That's the one you want to order. And follow the directions, guys. This all goes pretty smooth as you're doing it. If you have any questions, just ask me. But there's the relay. Like I said, 5 and 3 go to pins 1 and 2 in your plasma cutter. After you find out which 1 and 2 is, 7 and 8 are the ones that go to your board. This board. Can I do this while this is here? Yeah. So they're gonna go to. Here's the relay. They got it going to output 3. Yep, I think that's the way we did ours. Output 3. And then the other one goes to the ground. Or, I'm sorry, they got this going. Let's see here. They got output 3 going to 1. The other one going to 20. That's your red one's going to go to 24 volts. That's what that's saying. I'll open mine up and double check this, guys. But it's what this is right here. This is how this goes. That's how you put it. Yep, the red one's going to go to the 24 volts right there. Any 24 volt source. You can put you a block on there, all right? And then the black one, it's going to go to the output 3 right there. Output 3. So that's going to be number 7 will go to output 3. Number 8 is going to go to a 24 volt source. 5 and 3 are going to be your 1 and 2 pins inside your plasma cutter. So remember that. Alright, I'm going to post these like I said and get this stuff put in the video. I'm still doing the screen record thing. If I have any more to add, I'll come back.
Okay guys, we're going to end the video here. I want to show you, I want to go over a couple things real quick. So on those schematics I showed you, the one that I drew up and the other one that I got off of Amazon with the wrap motor, you know, when you buy the kit. So on the wrap motor one, there's a bunch of other stuff in there that's obviously not going to be part of the table, but it's the same thing. You just follow those directions and it will all be the same. Now the one I drew, I'm showing you the limit switches and the relay. Now the relay is just the block, but the relay just pushes into that block. But you can see right where the wires go and everything. And I just wanted to explain that real quick. Now I wanted to show you, I went ahead and I cut out these little brackets for this cart that I just made. Let me take you over here. Okay. First of all, let me show you this. So here I just cut this out. Now I set mine at, my final setting was 120, but when it cut, it was cutting at in a range of 114-ish, 116-ish right in there as it, you know, needed to do what it done. And it cut these out really nice, guys. I mean, look at all I did was knocked off a little bit of the dross that was on it, and then I just cleaned both sides of it with my 3-inch Rolex wheel with the 36 on it. But I mean, look at it turned out just like I made it. And then I'll show you what these are for. They're just some J brackets for this welding cart. But even my 5/16 holes for the bolt holes turned out super nice, guys. I mean, I ain't even ran a drill or nothing through them. Look at the back side. You can see that I didn't trickery it or mess with it. You can see that it's not as clean as the front. But it's very nice. All of it turned out really great. So play with your settings. Once you guys get this set up, guys, you guys are going to love this setup with this THC, with all that stuff. You guys are going to love it. Anyway, let me show you this bad boy. So this is my new HTP. It's from HTP America. It's the Freedom 235 Pulse. You guys, I ain't used it yet, but this thing is a tank. I can't wait to use it. I just got it yesterday, and I'm finishing up the cart for it. So these are going to go, I got the other side on, but they're going to go right there. That way, let me take you over here so I can show you. So I can open my side door to get my wire and stuff in it. So yeah, you can see how that goes now. I made some little spacers there just so it's even, but that's going to be really cool. Really, really cool. So if you guys remember, this is the cart that had the wheels on it where it would only go backwards. So I fixed all that. I dropped, I raised the cart up, made some new brackets, raised the back wheels, dropped the back wheels down as well to get it all the way it needs to be. And now it's super nice. You can spin it. I ain't got this handle on good. You can do whatever you want now. So it works really good. I got to tighten it up when I put this other side on. But I wanted you guys to see this welder. I'm super excited about this, guys. New sponsor on board, guys. I can't wait. I've been waiting on this. I sent this company an email a while back ago, and Peter, he's the guy I'm dealing with, and he responded back to me, and we talked a little bit. I explained, hey, I ain't got the world's largest channel yet. So yeah, I explained to them I don't have the world's largest channel yet, as I said, but I'm working on it, and I plan on having something decent one day with it. He sees the potential, or else he never would have done this. You know what I mean? Just as the other people that I've dealt with in the past. But I told him I want to do some kind of a long-term thing with somebody. I don't want to keep jumping around companies, boom, 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 you know what I mean? I want to stick with one, and we'll see how this goes. I think I've heard so much good things about these welders and all the stuff that they have. But I mean, just like this, this thing, when I took it out of the box, it's so freaking, you can just feel it. It's like a tank, and I think the company's based out of Italy, but let me just show you. Like this torch. It's just got the hose on, the line on it, the feel of the torch and stuff. It just feels like it's, really, really nice and strong. Like I said, I can't wait to use it. I haven't done nothing with it yet. I just got it yesterday. I'm setting it all up. Today I'm going to do maybe some welding with it, and then it'll be, there's that heater, and then it's going to be in a bunch of videos, guys. So you guys are going to see this bad boy in action, and I'll let you know what I think about it. In here, we'll go through all that in the other video, but I just wanted you guys to see what's going on here, and the main thing about this was these brackets, but I wanted you guys to see that so far, what's going to be coming. But there it is. It worked out super nice, guys. Let me set the camera. Hang on. All right. So we're going to end the video here. If you have any questions, jot them down in the comments. As I said earlier on in the video, this was a request by one of our followers, and I thought it was a great one, because you don't see that. Nobody's explaining how to install the THCs or any of that stuff. When I opened up Mach 3 in the beginning of this video, just pause it and zoom in on it, and you can see in the settings there where I got it. Now, one thing I need to go over real quick on the relay one. I keep saying COM 1 or output 1 or output 3. I don't remember what I have it in Mach 3. So when you go into the menu, when you guys see the menu, pause it, zoom in there, and you'll see where which port I have it on. I think it's 3, but it may be 1. But whatever it is, just put that wire to that output, and then set that port in that settings, in that menu that I showed you guys, and set yours to the correct one. So if you put it to 3 on the board, make your setting 3 on in the software, and that's all. Now in Mach 3, as I said, there's about the middle of the screen, there's a part that says THC. If you push that button, it will activate when you're going to go test it. It will don't do it with the torch on. Just click it and then see if your relay lights up, and that'll tell you if you got everything good, which it will. There's no reason why it won't. One of the wires goes to the 24 volts on that board, which is at the top on that same side of those ports. Just put that one to the 24 and put the other one in the port side of it, and click. You'll see when you click that button, it'll work. But the relays are in that last video where I posted the list of all the parts that I got. Just go back through there and see where it says the relays. It's the only ones I bought in that video, or in this build. And just I think it comes with 2 of them. I believe I got another one up in the cabinet. So it comes at 2, and they're not that much. I think it was under $10 even. But thank you so much, you guys. I can't wait for this channel to grow. I keep saying that. I'm just excited about doing so much more with this channel, especially with stuff like this. I mean, I want to do big things in the future. So I got so many plans, but it has to happen. So please, whatever you guys can do, a couple comments, a couple likes, share it if you can on your social media, wherever you can share them, just so the video stays in the feed. YouTube likes seeing that stuff. Very helpful to me, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one.